All right, folks, can we take our seats? Thank you. All right, let's get started.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Councillor Mickley, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the
To the
republic,
republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome to everybody. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council on August 11th. We're both being audio and videotaped. Those councilors online that we have are Councilor Randy Block, President Mark Laredo, Councilor Lenny Gentile, and Councilor Andrea Downs, and Councilor Rick Lipoff. All right, let's go to first call. And Councilor Kelly, land use.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. The land use report, and I'm sure that Councilor Lucas will correct me if I'm wrong, because I've gotten two conflicting reports from the clerk's office today. Here's what I think. The land use report starts on page 171. On July 22nd, we met and we took up item 218-25, which is about parking stalls at 776 Beacon Street, and that was approved 7-0. We took up item 177-25, which is on the next page, 172, a request to allow 3 single-family attached dwellings at 790 Watertown Street, and that was also approved. And keep going. That's where my confusion enters. Sorry? No, is it? Is 790 Watertown Street also on?
It is, that's on second call.
There we go. Not informed. So that's first call, I believe. But I would like to assign some public hearings.
Please do.
I'd like to set public hearings for items 223-25. These will all be for August 19th. 224-25, 225-25. I'm not sure about 226. The clerk can help me out here. I got a conflicting, yes, that wasn't in this. Okay, 226-25, 227-25 for August 19th, which are on pages 184 and 185. And for items 238-25, 239-25 for September 16th, which are on page 185. And for items 217-25 and 216-25 for September 9th, which is on pages 185 and 186. And then we have another second call, and I think that is complete. Yes, Katie? Good, thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Kelly. Councilor Baker for zoning and planning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Acting President. And the committee report is going to be found in 2 aspects. We have the written committee report, which begins on page 172, and then on page 173, there are items that I'm going to ask suspension of the rules to report without a written report because they were discussed by the committee in this discussion just a few minutes ago. So let me start with the items subject to the regular report, and then I'll move with suspension of the rules in a moment. That's 206-25, appointment of Tom Gloria to the Berto Advisory Commission. 207-25, appointment of Deb Crossley to the Berto Advisory Commission. 208-25, appointment of Peter Barrett to the Berto Advisory Commission. And 209-25, Kristen Avila to the Berto Advisory Commission. To 1525, appointment of Sean McAmo to the Conservation Commission. To 1025, appointment of James Miller to the Auburndale Historic Commission. And there's an item listed as part of the report, but I want to just clarify it. It noted it is held in committee, and that is the subject of a conversation that we had in the committee. That's 21225, appointment of Travis Salters. So that part I'm prepared to move as a regular committee report. Then I would like to ask for suspension of the rules to report out items which were not subject to a written report, but are conveniently located on the reports docket, thanks to the clerk. And I will just comment.
Thank you, Councilor Baker. Councilor Baker is asking for a suspension of the rules to report out on items not written or somewhat written. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Thank you, Councilor Baker. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Acting President. So the first item we considered in committee was the appointment of Scott Friedman to the Newton Historical Commission. And that was approved by a vote of 7-0, one member of the committee absent. The second item we considered is 21225, appointment of Travis Salter and to the Newton Historical Commission. Now, the docket item is in error, and I wanted to ask an additional suspension of the rules to clarify that the item is really to appoint this individual as an alternate, not a full member. The docket was an error, but the mayor's office clarified that. So I would hope that that would be included as a modification in the vote. That vote was 4 in favor, 3 opposed, and 1 absent. Then we discussed a number of items that are found on page
Councilor Baker.
174.
The 21125 was approved 6-0 to 1 with 1 abstention and 1 absent.
Yeah, but is that, now I'm reporting these on first call.
Okay. You just said it was 7-0.
No, I thought I've said it was total 7 votes. I mean, it's 4 in favor, if I recall, 3 opposed and 1 absent.
I'm talking about, sorry, the Scott Friedman one.
Oh, that was a 7-0, I thought.
It was 6.
Oh, 701,
One
excuse me, 601. You're correct. Thank you very much for the correction. So the item 21125 was 601. Apologies to my colleagues. And then 21225 was 4-3 on 1 absent.
A quick point of order there, though,
Yes,
Chair. Sorry, that item is on second call.
okay. I
Correct.
can't see the screen of second call item, so I'm just reporting. So, that item 21225, Travis Salters, will not be part of the committee report. It'll be on second call, and I'll talk about it at that point. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Then on page
Councilor
174.
Baker, can you hold 1 second? Councilor Maliki, do you have?
Mr. Friedman, I put that on second call too.
You
Okay.
did.
It'll be a
Okay.
lot shorter, I'm sure.
All right, so both appointees to the Historical Commission, 21125 and 21225, are now on second call and will not be part of the suspended rules committee report. However, there is more to come. This is on page 174. These are various items that the committee felt we would not have the opportunity to deal with or did not need to deal with this term, and so should be made no action necessary at this point. With one exception, which I'll point out. This is 37424 requesting discussion of certain, excuse me, this is, I'm going to clarify, this is a public hearing we voted. And I do want to report that. This is a public hearing of 37524 requesting discussion and possible amendments to Chapter 30 zoning to allow certain residential alterations by right. That is voted for a public hearing on September 25th. Then moving to the items for NAN, it's 22124, which is a discussion concerning ZAP work plan for the new term. Obviously, we don't need to do that. Item 2424 listed on that page was held in the committee, so we're not reporting that for no action necessary. Then 7624, discussion and possible ordinance amendment to deal with grade changes regarding stormwater runoff is NAN because we had already dealt with the issue through the process of reviewing the height and also the retaining walls. 8624, request for pre-budget discussion. 23224, discussion of NewGov. 8324, discussion regarding key metrics and reporting process. 23124, discussion regarding community engagement for large process. This is one of those items that we recommended that the committee consider in the new term if the docketers wish to bring it back. 5225, discussion raised beds in the setback. And then 32224, discussion regarding residential use of electricity. So those items would be moved NAN, except for the public hearing item I just indicated. And I would move those under suspension of the rules, but not include the 2 second call items, which have been called out as part of the conversation earlier.
Thank you, Counselor Baker. Programs and Services Committee, Counselor Oliver.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Acting President. The report begins on page 169. The Programs and Services Committee met on July the 16th. We have 4 items. 20425, the appointment of Patrick Dober to the Newton Housing Authority, that was approved 4-0. 20125, the appointment of Robert King to the Parks and Rec Commission. That item was also approved 4-0. Item 20325, reappointment of Vincent O'Donnell to the Newton Housing Authority was approved 4-0. And finally, item 20225, the reappointment of Christopher Murphy to the Institutional Biotechnology Committee, also approved 4-0. And with that, I close the report.
Thank you, Counselor Oliver. Counselor Grossman for Public Safety and Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. There's no report this evening.
Excellent. Thank you, Counselor Grossman. Counselor Albright for Public Facilities.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. Public Facilities met 3 times this past month. So we met first, starting on page 177 on July 16th. 18825, President Laredo appointing Renahe, I keep saying that wrong, Irani Family to the Citizens Commission, no, to the Energy Commission. We need to amend that to make that appropriate, the Energy Commission. One that was approved 6-0. 182-25, Cellco Partnership, a grant of location to install a small cell wireless communication facility on Woodcliff and Boylston Street. This was approved 6-0. 183-25, that's a request of location for National Grid to install and maintain gas line in Commonwealth Avenue from the intersection of Oakland Ave at Com Ave and Auburn Street as described, and this was approved 5 in favor, 1 opposed. 198-25, National Grid potential grant of location to install and maintain gas main in Bacon Street. This was approved 4 in favor, 2 opposed. 199-25, National Grid grant of location to maintain and install gas line in Grove Street, Colgate Road, and Hanger Street. So this was broken. National Grid withdrew its grant of location at Colgate Road and Hager Street. So the only ones that were approved, the only grant of location approved was Grove Street, and that was approved 4 in favor, 2 against. 199-25, that's a parens 2, and I don't know if it was held, it says it was held, but I think it was no action necessary. This was the 2 streets that were pulled out of the grant of location, Colgate and Hager. It says held, but I'm pretty sure it was no action necessary. And the vote there was 8 in favor, 0 against. 195-25, New Singular Wireless petitioning for grant of location to install a small cellular cell wireless facility on Walnut Street, and this was approved 8-0. 196-25, also New Singular Wireless petitioning for grant of location to install a small cell wireless on Boylston Street. This was approved 8-0. 197-25, this was a grant of location to New Singular Wireless on Hammond Street. This was approved 8-0. We met again on, where's our November 23rd meeting? July. Oh, here, that's what I was just reading. Did I skip? I must have turned a page and skipped something. Wait a minute, let me make sure I got all of these. This was all held. There's one here on page 180 that I skipped, 165-25. Her Honor, the Mayor requesting authorization to appropriate and expend the sum of $2,453,904.27 from various inflow and infiltration migration accounts to supplement funding for the capital improvement plan inflow and infiltration projects. That was approved 8-0.
Can you read 19425 again?
I'm about 194.25. I skipped that one as well because I turned 2 pages. New Singular Wireless petitioning for a grant of location on Delmore Road, and that was approved 8-0. And now to the July 28th meeting. The first item is on second call. And the second item is, actually, we didn't have to take it up because it was less than $50,000, so it only had to go to finance. So we did not vote on that one. And that concludes the report.
Thank you, Counselor Albright.
Thank you.
Counselor Gentile with the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. I only have one item to report out tonight, and I need to ask for a suspension of the rules.
Counselor Gentile is asking for suspension of the rules to accept a vote and report out without a written report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, go ahead, Counselor Gentile.
The item is docket item 213-25. The request was to transfer $15,000 from the Community Preservation Committee unrestricted fund balance to the Newton Community Farm Deck budget in order to cover some unexpected costs that have arisen during the construction of the new deck. And that item was approved by a vote of 7-0, and I would move the report.
Thank you, Counselor Gentile. Real property reuse, Counselor Danberg.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. There is no report tonight, but I would like a suspension of the rules so that I can set a public hearing for item number 36-24.
Counselor Danberg's asking for suspension of the rules to set a public hearing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go
Thank
ahead.
you. I would like to set a public hearing on September 18th for item number 3624, which is the reuse of parcel of land on Grove and Hancock Streets in Ward 4.
Thank you, Counselor Danberg. All right, let's call the roll on first call.
Counselor Albright,
Aye.
Counselor Baker,
Aye.
Counselor Bixby,
Aye, with the exception of number 198-25 and 199-25, on which I am a no.
you said 198 and 199-25?
Yes.
Counselor Block,
Aye.
Counselor Danberg,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Farrell,
Aye.
Counselor Gentile,
Aye.
Counselor Getz,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg,
Aye.
Counselor Grossman,
Aye.
Counselor Humphrey,
Aye, except for 198-25 and 199-25, for which I vote no.
Counselor Kalis,
Aye.
Counselor Kelly. Aye, with the exception of 98-25 and 199-25, for which I vote no. Counselor Krinsman. Counselor Leary.
Aye, except for 183-25, 198-25, and 199-25, for which I vote no.
Counselor Lipoff,
Aye.
Counselor Lobovitz,
Aye.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Maliki. Aye. Counselor Mickley,
Aye.
Counselor Oliver,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
President Laredo,
Aye.
All right, bear with me. Hopefully I do this right. So that passes 23-0 with one absent, with the exception of 198-25 passes 19 yeas, 3 nays, 1 absent. 199-25 passes 19 yeas, 3 nays, 1 absent. And 183-25, 22 yeas, 1 nay, and 1 absent.
On 198 and 199, can you raise your hands if you were nay? I think there were 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, so she counted it correctly. All right, just wanted to confirm. All right. Thanks. So let's go to second call. 188-25, Counselor Kelly. This was chartered by Counselor Getz. So we could start with you and then go to Counselor Getz.
Because it was chartered, shall I just give a brief
Just
history of what
brief.
happened that night? Very brief, not opinionated, just the facts. The Land Use Committee met on July 8th. This is around 188-25, which is Keno at Echo Bridge. Land Use Committee met on July 8th and deliberated on the request for a special permit to allow Keno at 1064 to 1070 Chestnut Street, the Echo Bridge Restaurant in Newton Upper Falls. This is a family-owned, longtime good neighbor restaurant in Upper Falls, currently owned by Paul Virgilio. Half a dozen neighbors came out in support of the request, and a petition signed by customers was submitted in favor. Ward councilors raised concerns about bringing Keno here due to the public health risks of gambling. There are other places to play Keno in Newton, while other businesses have been denied. The public hearing was closed. The motion to approve passed 6-2. And it was put on second call, I believe, by Counselor Getz, but here we are chartering it. And I would like to make a motion to postpone to a date certain.
Thank you, Counselor Kelly. So there is a
September
motion
15th, if you need specifics.
to September 15th? Okay. There's a motion to postpone to September 15th on this item. Discussion, please, starting with Counselor Humphrey. Oh, Counselor Getz, I'm sorry. Counselor Getz and then Counselor Humphrey.
I'm not sure that I would have in fact been the first person to speak on this item. It's not on. Now it's on. Okay. So, and I don't have a problem with you reporting it out, but I thought that I would have been the first one to speak on it. So, but that's okay, because we are where we are in terms of her making the motion to postpone it to a date certain, and I'm fine with that.
Thank you, Counselor Getz.
Does that not then no discussion?
No, there is discussion. We'll discuss the motion. Counselor Humphrey?
Just briefly, I'm not sure if we need to postpone it. I know somebody wanted to postpone it, but almost everybody's here. I think we only have 1 absence if we're including online. So I would be fine with just dealing with this substantively tonight either way. And, you know, again, I'm not going to comment. I commented at length last time, so I don't need to repeat that. My views haven't changed. Counselor Downs' views haven't changed. And, you know, I think we're just trying to be consistent in our decisions between this and a previous proposal that didn't go forward in Newton Upper Falls. Thank you.
Counselor Lucas?
Thank you. Yeah, I have no problem postponing this. Just the date that you said was the 15th. That's our second meeting in September. Our first, I think, is on the 2nd, which is the Tuesday. No?
That's correct.
That's,
So we would postpone it to the 2nd, not the 15th.
No, the 15th.
I think she
But-
wants to make sure everybody's here.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Counselor Kelly.
I will speak again to all of this. I would be perfectly happy to withdraw the postpone to a date certain because it was President Laredo who wanted us to wait till there were more of us here. And as Counselor Humphrey points out, most of us are here and I don't have a problem with that. To Counselor Getz's point about why I spoke first is just generally the chair of the committee that heard it gives a report and then people speak to it after that. So I wasn't trying to usurp your role at all, but it usually just comes that way. I'm happy to accept that counter proposal to vote on it tonight and withdraw the petition. I mean, the request to withdraw. I mean, to postpone to a date certain. If you would like to do that, Mr. Acting President.
I think we have quite a few on our docket today, so let's stick with your initial motion.
Excuse me?
It's up to you, but
I'm fine withdrawing the motion to postpone to a date certain. I'm fine having a discussion and a vote tonight.
okay, so you want to withdraw the motion. I think we first have to, well, we would withdraw the motion. Counselor Baker, any?
If the maker wants to withdraw, that's fine. You just get the consent of the seconder and it's done.
Right. So there's a second to withdraw the motion? Okay, Counselor Lobowitz, thank you. So that is withdrawn. So discussion on the item in general. Counselor Getz.
So I'm just sort of now speaking because I was the one that chartered it, correct? Okay, so good. We're at a place where we are actually discussing the item. So I actually have changed my mind on this consideration because I never voted on it. But I actually wanted, and the reason I chartered it was because I wanted to hear from the Upper Falls Area Council with regard to this specific petition, because I had actually heard them be oppositional to a Keno Go site for the All-Star Liquor location twice. So I felt as if it was important for them to weigh in on this consideration. I discussed it at length with our one of our city solicitors, and he sort of very specifically said to me that outside of zoning, the city has no real role with either permitting, monitoring, or regulating Keno. This is all done at the state level under the Lottery Commission. So I felt as if in fact, and I did not hear any opposition from any resident on this matter. So I am at this current status of supportive of the petition to have the Keno restaurant because they comply with the zoning for the Keno in a restaurant. So I'm supportive of it.
Thank you, Counselor Getz. Other comments? Oh, yeah, Counselor Gentile.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. Not quite sure what to do here. I checked into this because if the item was coming up, I was going to make every effort to get into the chamber to speak on it because I consider it pretty important, especially in light of the folks that I believe have owned this place for 65 years. And I was told that the item was going to be postponed to a date certain. So I suppose that I could put that motion back on the floor. But I also don't want to be uncooperative, but I feel bad that I'm not there. I had gotten a bunch of information, factual information, that corrected some statements that were made at the last meeting about how the money is dispersed from Keno and a number of other things. So I guess I'll just sit tight for now. I am very much in favor of this petition. We continue to hear from the Chamber of Commerce and others that even though the pandemic is over, running a restaurant, bar, or both in this day and age is a tremendous challenge. They still have not gotten back to pre-pandemic levels in terms of the money side of things. And this is just a small tool in the toolbox that would help these folks continue with their business. I don't understand how we can talk about trying to be friendlier to businesses, how we talk about trying to do what we can to help small businesses, and then we have a small business with a long history of local involvement. I think you've heard at another meeting about all the things and groups that meet there over the years or use that as kind of like a home base. 1975, my first job out of college, I was a teacher aide at Weeks Junior High, as it was known then. And at the end of a very long week of dealing with the emotions and the hormones of junior high kids, staff let their hair down at the end of Friday, and we would go to the Echo Bridge. And there's a lot of people that can share that kind of a story. So I'm interested in trying to help these folks. Again, I don't know how you can talk about doing the right thing by small businesses, yet you voted against this kind of a petition. I'm extremely pleased that Councilor Getz kept an open mind and has changed her vote, because I know it's tough to vote against in support of something when there's 3 ward councilors against it, but now at least Councilor Getz is supporting it, and I enthusiastically support approving this special permit also. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gentile. Okay. Councilor Downs?
Thank you, Acting Chair. I have not changed my mind on this item. We have consistently opposed adding Keno to Upper Falls, in part because, as my colleague Bill Humphreys has explained, gambling addiction and the tendency to locate Keno and other lottery products in low-income neighborhoods. Upper Falls being either the lowest income or the second lowest income zip code in the city. This restaurant, when we asked them what Keno might bring in, was unable to answer that question and admit that they haven't tried other ways to attract additional business, such as a trivia night or something along that line, which I would encourage them to do. Is my anecdotal research into Keno is that it brings in people who want to gamble, not people who want to eat or drink. That's not the kind of traffic that I would like to see that close to my house, and probably you wouldn't either. So I would respectfully ask my colleagues to deny this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Downs. So Councilor Farrell, Leary, and then Lipoff.
Thank you, Acting President. My concern, as I've spoken to this body before, is not that I encourage gambling any more than I encourage smoking. But I have a serious problem with us trying to legislate morality. If we want to help people who have a gambling addiction, let's set up a program that will help with that. And I know that this is a serious problem for some people, not only in Newton, but in the Commonwealth and in the United States. We are not going to solve that problem by denying this business the opportunity to draw in some more customers and make a little more money. And in fact, having been in this restaurant, I'm fairly certain if there were anyone in there abusing this game, they would stop it. They're a very family-oriented business, and they're concerned about making sure that the majority of their customers are treated well and politely by all others. But in essence, I find it really hard that we should be saying to someone that they shouldn't be allowed to do something that other people can do a couple of blocks away in the same town and under the same conditions. So I ask you all to please support the Echo Bridge Restaurant in its application. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Farrell. Councilor Leary.
Thank you, Acting President. I haven't changed my mind. I voted yes on this request in committee, and I'm going to continue to stick with that. And essentially, Councilor Gentile made all the points. I just think it's important that we support our local businesses, and it is a legal use in Massachusetts, so I'm supporting it.
Thank you, Councilor Leary. Councilor Lipoff.
Wow. Nothing much to say. I was going to say some things that have already been said. Councilor Gentile perfectly said, Councilor Farrell perfectly said, and Councilor Leary, this is legal. We have it in Ward 8 in Tedeschi's. I see no reason why it shouldn't be at Echo Bridge. I think it's a perfect use there, and I'm all for it.
Thank you, Councilor Lipoff. Anybody else? Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. There are rules. If you have reservations and may vote against something, you should indicate in advance. And I have reservations about this. I'm willing to hear more conversation, but if I don't vote in favor of it, I would adopt the position of the councilor from Ward 5 on the Land Use Committee.
Thank you, Councilor Baker. Councilor Kelly.
Thank you. I'm just going to go on the record because I'm going to be voting no again, consistently with how I voted before. And I'd just like to make one distinction in terms of thinking about it. I don't think of it as a question of dictating morality. As my colleague from Ward 8 said, I think this is a public mental health issue. And the reason I'm voting against it is I don't think that it is for the public benefit to add any more access to gambling, which is an addiction. And I will be voting no.
Thank you, Councilor Kelly. Councilor Grossman.
Thank you. And I thank my counselor from Ward 7 for reminding me that if I have reservations and may vote no, that I should stand and speak to those reasons. And I've been listening carefully to what you have all said, because over the last couple of meetings, I've had some conflicting feelings about this one, but I think Councilor Kelly probably summed up most closely how I feel. And I've been struggling in my mind with how would I feel if every restaurant in Newton wanted to add Keno to their establishment. And I don't think that the cost to the community outweighs the benefit. So I'm inclined to vote no and still listening.
Thank you, Councilor Grossman. Councilor Malachy.
Thank you. Have been on the fence, still on the fence. So I just wanted to express my thoughts. I agree with Councilor Kelly. I think Keno, to me, it sort of combines the addictiveness of gambling with the addictiveness of screens. I think spending money on Keno is a waste of money. I don't think it's necessarily going to help the business, as Councilor Downs pointed out. To me, it's money spent on gambling is money not spent on some other form of entertainment or food or something like that. On the other hand, I agree with points made by Councilor Getz and Councilor Farrell. I'm leaning toward deferring to the judgment of the business who thinks it will help them, even though I'm not sure that it will. And I'm trying to avoid being too paternalistic, or perhaps it's maternalistic, and telling adults what they can waste their money on. So I'm still listening to.
Thank you, Counselor Maliki. Counselor Mickley?
Thank you. Yeah, to me, this is an issue at the margin. You know, some people are sort of for it, some people are sort of against it, but the question is, what kind of sentiment do we create in Newton for our small businesses, which are already struggling greatly? If we want Newton to be able to afford the budget that we aspire towards, all the programs and services that we want, we need to make this a welcoming place for small businesses. There's so many macro factors that are going against small businesses right now. And for an issue at the margin, I think we should be pro small business. That's why I'm voting yes.
Thank you, Counselor Mickley. Counselor Lucas?
Thank you. I want to associate my comments with Counselor Gentile. I think he summed it up perfectly. And just to give everyone a heads up, I don't know if everyone saw the committee meeting where we were discussing Keno and the layout of Echo Bridge Restaurant. It's not going to be in the main dining room. It's going to be sort of on the side where they have the bar. So it's not going to be in everyone's face where everyone can see it to place a bet. But I also want to say is, and I'm almost certain on this, I hope I'm certain on this, the most visited building in Newton has gambling in it, and it's right in your face when you walk in. The Star Market in Newtonville. As soon as you walk up those stairs, the Mass Lottery has a vending machine right in your face as soon as you walk in. To me, this is a non-issue. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Counselor Lucas. Counselor Bixby?
I just wanted to rise briefly to also say that I'm struggling with this and the concerns on each side. I'm in deep concern for our small businesses and deep concern for the mental health issues that questions like this arise. And this would be my first time voting on a question like this. And so, you know, while it doesn't necessarily set a precedent for Newton or the state, it does set a precedent. Oh gosh, personally, and my seltzer. So while I might be towards the end of the speakers, keeping an open mind, but concerned.
Counselor Baker?
Thank you. I just want to be clear. This is a land use item under special permit. And the special permit criteria is a use appropriate to the site. And the second issue is there a public interest. These are issues that I think we're trying to pour content into, but to me, the report of the committee's chair and the counselor from the ward indicated that as I understood those criteria, they are not successfully met. It's not a matter that we don't want to support small business in the city. That's a policy that we all do, but we have to vote on the basis of the special permit criteria on the site as applied.
Thank you, Counselor Baker. Counselor Block?
Thank you, Acting Chair. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
I want to thank Counselor Baker for reminding us all about the criteria for making these determinations. And I guess I come to a different conclusion than Counselor Baker appears to have come to. I think it is appropriate to the site. And the way the layout of the restaurant I think is taking care of making sure that Keno is done in a segregated space. And the other question about, is this going to have a negative impact on the neighborhood? That may be a closer call. I'm really struck by the neighborhood support for this petition, both the area council support and the comments that we have received. Gambling is a potential problem for some people. as Counselor Farrell mentioned earlier, if we want to start a gambling addiction prevention program or a treatment program, I'd be very interested in that. I think there are such programs already available, and I hope that this establishment will make that information available to customers who participate in Keno, assuming this is approved. So I think the question about is gambling going to be available to people has been already answered by the state of Massachusetts, and I will be voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Block. Counselor Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. Picking up on Counselor Block's statement, as long as gambling is legal in Massachusetts, and it's certainly legal in Newton, I don't know how we can pick and choose which establishment can gamble and which establishment can't gamble. And we have Keno in Newton and other places. As long as we're in Newton and other places. Somebody, okay, that was an echo, it's gone. So as long as we have gambling in Newton, as long as it's legal, I can't see a reason not to approve this. With respect to the public interest, if this is a business which is, and if there are other businesses in the same situation, which is having trouble surviving, and Newton survives on the taxes that these businesses pay, I think it is in the public interest to help keep these businesses going and keep them thriving. And if this is something that this proprietor thinks will help keep his business thriving, then it is definitely in the public interest, as far as I'm concerned. Whenever we do the budget and we see how little there is for all the things we want to do, I'd be happy to keep this business in place. And it becomes down to a fairness issue. You know, Keno exists in Newton and other establishments. I haven't heard any reason why it can't be in this establishment, especially because the neighborhood isn't against it. So I'm going to vote yes.
Thank you, Counselor Albright. I'm gonna call on myself. I can do that, right? No? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Counselor Humphrey?
Just again, the point that Counselor Downs and I have been making throughout this process is that our quasi-judicial determination was that a special permit request of this nature was harmful to this neighborhood, which I spoke to at some length the previous meeting, but again, I'll just briefly reiterate that, the gambling and the lottery activities pull money out of the community to somewhere else. They pull the money out, and they especially pull them out of lower income, lower wealth communities and neighborhoods. And as Counselor Downs said, this is one of those. And again, in terms of this consistency point, we as Ward 5 counselors, Counselor Downs and I, are trying to be consistent here. There was a previous proposal by a different business for Upper Falls that was objected to by the Licensing Commission, and therefore the state didn't move forward with it. That did not happen here. It's convenient. The petitioners this time are much more politically connected and much more connected to the folks at the neighborhood area council and the city council and attorneys, et cetera, right? So sure, that's why we're here now having this discussion, but we are trying to be consistent. And as some other counselors have said, I think, yes, some people might be comfortable with it right next to them and whatever, and some people are not. And some people I think would probably object to it being in their neighborhoods. And I represent multiple neighborhoods in Ward 5, so I'm also trying to be consistent within Ward 5. I cannot imagine this being proposed for Woburn Square, so I'm trying to do my best to be consistent for Upper Falls. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Humphrey. Any other comments?
Point of order, would you like President Emeritus Baker to take over so you can give testimony?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
don't get this happen very often, so I wanted to say it's good to be back. Anyway, I'll recognize the Vice President.
Thank you, Counselor Baker. So I just want to make sure people understand that I am in full support of this. I think that we have to acknowledge how much of a competition we are in with other neighborhoods, other cities and towns, and this is a legal activity. In speaking with Paul, the owners of Echo Bridge, they are going into this with open eyes. They understand the concerns that people have, but they also know their clientele. And as Councilor Lucas said, they're positioning it in an area where it's off to the side, and they feel like it's completely going to be manageable. I do believe in them, and I think that this is something that we should approve. So thank you.
Okay, I will yield the chair back to the Vice President. My understanding of the rules is that I have to yield the chair for him to comment, but he can actually preside over the vote. All right, I'm happy to stay put, and I'm not going to dispute that. We have enough to do. All right, anyone else? Okay, then I think we're ready to call the roll. If you're in favor of the report, excuse me, which is, I think the report of the committee is in favor, right? But it was a minority report against. Then you will vote aye, and those who oppose the grant of the special permit will vote no, and the clerk will call the roll. And I think the Vice President still votes last for this purpose, right? Okay.
Counselor Albright,
Aye.
Counselor Baker,
No.
Counselor Bixby,
No.
Counselor Block,
Aye.
Counselor Danberg,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
No.
Counselor Farrell,
Aye.
Counselor Gentile,
Aye.
Counselor Getz,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg,
Aye.
Counselor Grossman,
No.
Counselor Humphrey,
No.
Counselor Kelly,
No.
Counselor Krinsman, Counselor Leary,
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff, Counselor Lipoff,
Aye.
Counselor Lobovitz,
Aye.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Maliki,
Aye.
Counselor Maliki, Counselor Mickley,
Aye.
Counselor Oliver,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
President Laredo,
Aye.
Counselor Kalis,
Aye.
it passes 17 yeas, six nays, one absent.
So the item passes, 16 votes required. I yield the chair back to the Vice President.
Thank you, Counselor Baker. Okay, the next item, 56-25, Counselor Albright, do you want to introduce this? Or should I go right to Counselor Lobovitz, who put it on second call?
I think the tradition is that you come to the chair
Yeah.
first, and then the person who put it on second call would speak next.
Okay,
However, what I'm going to propose is that we postpone the vote. Is this the vote on the Chapin Road drain extension?
yes.
Yes, I'm going to propose that we postpone this until a date certain, which will be September 15th. There are some things happening that have not yet happened since the vote in committee. The request was made for a third-party review by an impartial reviewer, as there was a disagreement between the proprietor's engineer and the neighbor's engineer. So they will probably, assuming that the petitioner has agreed to pay for a third-party review, which would be hired by the city, the same way we do in land use. And this is being checked out now with the law department to make sure it's okay to do it in this particular thing. So, and there's a few other things that are in the background, not yet solved. So I'm proposing that we postpone this until September 15th. I think that will give time for the third-party engineer to review the docket item.
Thank you, Councilor Albright. Okay. Councilor Lobovitz and then Block.
I just want to second that. I should just say a few words in addition to what Councilor Albright said. I was going to make the same motion, and I'll just read my words in view of that intent. I'm asking the council to approve moving consideration of the item 56-25, request for a main drain extension at 132 Homer Street, also referred to as Chapin Road Drain Extension, approved by a narrow margin of the Public Facilities Committee to a date certain of September 15th. The matter relates to whether an extension of a main drain along Chapin Road from a proposed road extension into 2 lots planned for development has adequate capacity to prevent additional flooding to the Chapin Road neighborhood. There are serious concerns from the neighbors on Chapin Road and Homer Street about the adequacy of the proposed main drain to accomplish its stated purpose. These concerns have been verified by an independent or an outside water engineering consultant. In line with Councilor Albright's statement, it will give us more time to look at further evidence and comment. There's an additional report from the neighbor's attorney that I think a lot of people have not seen, including perhaps the committee. So I'm just seconding the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Lobovitz. Councilor Danberg?
Thank you,
Sorry, I'm
Mr.
sorry. I had Councilor Block next.
Thank you, Acting Chair. As someone who does not serve on the committee that considered this, I've been learning about it and am intrigued that additional information is possibly being sought. Under these circumstances, it seems to be more appropriate to return this to committee so that the committee can review what additional information is made available. Doing this kind of consideration in the full city council seems to me cumbersome at best. I realize there's a motion on the floor. And Mr. Acting President, I ask your advice regarding whether I should propose an amendment to that motion to return to committee, or how you would like me to follow through on my observation. And so that's my question to you.
I would say there's a motion on the floor to postpone, and I'd want to see that through unless that motion is withdrawn, and go from there. If Councilor Danberg and then Councilor Leary.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Chair. I'm in agreement with the motion to postpone. We have further information that is forthcoming. I think it's important that we hear that information. And we have spent a great deal of time on this in committee. It's been in committee. We've spent many meetings on it. I would like to hear what the additional reports that are coming out will say. But I think that the motion to postpone is what I will vote yes on.
Thank you, Counselor Danberg. Counselor Leary?
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. So I am on the committee and we have spent a great deal of time on this already, but it is a complex subject. I'm going to go with the motion to postpone at this time, realizing that we could always, at a later date, return it to committee. But this is like a bullow's pond. This is something that you have to really dig into. I would recommend reading the Stormwater Handbook and our ordinance, as well as watch the videos. That would probably bring you up to speed. It is a fairly big lift. And with some of the things that we're discussing, I feel like they almost should be a committee of the whole for some of these discussions because it takes quite a bit of time and reading. And anyone who's not an engineer, we have to put more effort into it. So I certainly agree with Councillor Block on that point, but I would prefer to postpone first and then see how people feel about it. We certainly can make another motion at our next meeting on the 15th.
Thank you, Counselor Leary. Counselor Lucas?
There we are. Thank you, Chair. I guess I'll vote yes to postpone. But I'll just add one other thing. I recommend everyone do a site visit with the neighbors because the whole thing changes. It's one thing to look at this petition on paper. It's another thing to actually go to the site. So I want to recommend that everyone make an attempt to go to the site between now and the 15th of September. Between now and the 15th of September. So you got about a month to head out there, talk to some of the neighbors. We've received some emails, so reach out to them, go to the site, visit the site. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Lucas. Counselor Albright?
Well, I'd like to amend maybe the request. I think it's great to go to the site, but you need to understand what the docket item is. The docket item is a main drain extension, which is part of this, why it's so complicated. There was a board of survey, the planning board acting as a board of survey approved a subdivision of 2 lots. And on the condition that a drain extension be created and approved by the Public Facilities Committee. So that is what the docket item is about. And then you have to, once you know what the docket item is about, then you have to understand what was the petitioner asked to do in addition to the main drain extension. And I mean, it almost feels like I have to do a little question and answer for the council if you're going to get involved in this way, to make sure that you understand what's before us, what additional has been requested of the petitioner, and then of course make your mind up. But it's not quite as easy as just going to the site and looking around.
Thank you, Counselor Albright. Anybody else? Further discussion? Okay, seeing none, let's call the roll on this.
Counselor Albright,
Aye.
Counselor Baker,
Right?
Counselor Bixby,
Aye.
Counselor Block,
Aye.
Counselor Danberg,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Farrell,
Aye.
Counselor Gentile,
Aye.
Counselor Getz,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg, aye. Counselor Humphrey,
Wait, hold on. That was an echo of Counselor Greenberg, not Counselor
Oh,
Grossman.
sorry.
That's okay. Counselor Grossman is an aye.
Counselor Humphrey,
Aye.
Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Krinsman, Counselor Leary,
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff, Counselor Lipoff,
Aye.
Counselor Lovovitz,
Aye.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Maliki,
Aye.
Counselor Mickley,
Aye.
Counselor Oliver,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
President Laredo,
Aye.
Counselor Kalis,
Aye.
23-0 with one absent. Motion to postpone is approved.
All right, thank you. So the item is postponed. Moving on, Counselor Baker, 212-25, the appointment of Travis Salter to the Newton Historical Commission. Why don't you introduce it, and then we'll go to Counselor Wright, who
We actually have two items, Mr. President, Acting President, on second call. And they actually in order would be Scott Friedman first and then Mr. Salter, if you're agreeable.
Sure.
But I think that's the order they appear in the docket. So we take them up one at a time. The first one, I need to move suspension of the rules, however, because they were put on second call and that didn't cover the prior suspension. So report these items without a written report.
All right, so Counselor Baker's asking for suspension of the rules to report on an item that is not in a written report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, go ahead, Counselor Baker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Acting President. So this is item 21125, appointment of Scott Friedman to the Newton Historical Commission. For honor the mayor appointing Scott Friedman, 62 Hinckley Road, Waban, as a member of the Newton Historical Commission for a term of office set to expire September 2nd, 2028. The committee voted, as the clerk indicated, 6-0-1 with one abstention, Councilor Wright, and one absent, in favor of Mr. Friedman's appointment. He is currently serving as an associate member of the Historical Commission and is a realtor, but is being appointed by the mayor as one of the at-large members of the Historical Commission. They're members who are supposed to be appointed from certain special backgrounds like real estate, and but he happens to be a realtor, but is being appointed at large. He's been serving for some time as an associate member and came to the committee meeting and expressed his willingness to serve as a full member, and the committee voted as indicated, and I'll reserve any comments till the discussion takes place. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is Counselor Malachy to put this on second call.
Yes, thank you. I put this on second call. I fully expect him to be approved, but I will be voting no because this appointment and the appointment we're going to discuss next, to me, all I can do is vote no until I see more of a interest in getting people onto the Historical Commission, like we used to have, who had some kind of experience or background in historic preservation. Mr. Friedman, as has been mentioned, he is an alternate member now. His appointment is good through March 30th, 2028. So if we don't approve him as a full member, we will still have his services. He's been, I think, a fairly regular attendee at meetings and often votes. We are missing on the NHC people like Peter Diamond, Jennifer Bentley, who had experience in architectural preservation. Amanda Stouffer Park, who literally her day job was consulting on paints and surfaces and the nitty-gritty stuff. It was pointed out that you don't have to be a sort of subject matter expert to be on a commission, which is true. But on a commission like the Historical Commission, we should have somebody who is a subject matter expert. It also bothered me that looking at the memberships, and I was trying to figure out the memberships on the committee, because there's a list on the NHC webpage. There's a list on the I call it the boards and commissions widget, where you can search a board and commission and see who's on it, and they don't quite match up. As I understand it, there are 7 current members if you include Doug Cornelius, John Rice, Mark Armstrong, Nancy Grissom, Harvey Shore, actually only 6, with Katie Kuby, Harvey Shore, and Anne Marie Stein as full members, you would have 7. As I understand it, Katie Kuby has resigned, I believe, and John Rice is leaving. Meanwhile, the mayor's letter that she sent to us today sort of lamented the difficulty of getting people to serve on commissions, saying, it's hard to find civic-minded people. And yet, people who were interested in serving were not renewed. And Nancy Grissom, who has been expired since July 10, 2024, and has been trying to get reappointed, has not been reappointed yet. So I would like to do a better job. I think the city needs to do a better job of making sure that people who do care about historic preservation are invited or indicated that they would be welcome to apply. I mean, as I mentioned in ZAP earlier today, I can reel off names of people who come to meetings regularly, who have done things in efforts of historic preservation, and they clearly have some background, and I feel that is missing on the commission, and I don't want to do anything in terms of approving or promoting new members until I see some action on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Malachy. Any other, Councilor Baker?
Thank you. I just should indicate that during the committee discussion, I reported that the mayor's office had indicated that Ms. Grissom is going to be brought forward as a reappointment. Her term has expired last year, and she's continuing to serve as commission members do until their successor is appointed. And as indicated, there may be opportunities forthcoming with some members of the commission stepping down. So I think it's important to have a full complement of people. And certainly Mr. Friedman seems to do the job well and has been appreciated for his service so far. So I'm going to support his reappointment. Or excuse me, not a reappointment, appointment to the full commission.
Thank you, Councilor Baker. Any other comments? Councilor Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too am disappointed that we are considering a person who may be a wonderful, lovely new resident of Newton and who wants to serve, but who has admittedly no experience in historic preservation. And I do think it's important, as I said in the committee meeting, although not a member, I think I was pretty astounded when the director of planning said it is very, very hard for the city to find people to volunteer for these commissions. We're a town of 75,000 adults, and I don't know what sort of effort we really make to encourage people to participate and make it interesting and exciting for them to participate. I do agree that several members, former members of the Historic Commission, who would have liked to stay, were not reappointed, were not even considered. And I think that has an influence how other people feel about serving in commissions, so that if they speak up, maybe they won't get reappointed. But I think it's up to us, actually, in the council, to begin to look at why are we having trouble finding people, and how do we work to encourage the planning department and whomever else is looking for volunteers to do a much better job of trying to find people to serve on these commissions. They're all important. And I just find it really hard to believe that in a town of this size, we can't find 100 or 150 people to serve on these commissions. Thank you very much. I will not be voting in favor of either of these, not because of the quality of the people, but simply because I think we need to do a better job and find people, particularly on historic preservation, that have some experience. They don't have to be professional preservationists, but there are people who've dedicated years of their lives to preservation and would be much better on this commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Farrell. Any other comments? Councilor Albright.
I just want to add that Mr. Cornelius was able to be with us for part of the meeting online. Two things. One is that the statement was made that they have no historic preservation expertise on the committee. They have a historic person, staff person who knows preservation, who is staff to the committee. So that who does the analysis of the projects as they come before the committee. But the second thing that Mr. Cornelius told us is that he double majored in law and historic preservation and was a few credits shy in historic preservation. So didn't graduate with the 2 degrees, but he clearly has expertise in historic preservation. And the final thing that he told us was that there's, I think, 7 members now, and getting a quorum, which is 4, is very difficult for the Historic Commission. And he wants us to be sure that we know that not voting for these people makes it very difficult for them to do their work. I will be voting for both of these candidates.
Thank you, Councilor Albright. Councilor Gentile, then Danberg, then Getz.
So I'm just going to make a couple of quick comments, and they hold true for both this item and also for the next item. I believe there's another appointment that's coming up, so I'm really speaking to both of them. I do share many of the concerns that Council Maliki brought up about some past decisions that have been made, specifically with this committee and people that were either not reappointed or never got a shot that I think would have been fine candidates. So there is something to that. However, they're not in front of me right now. There's there are 2 gentlemen that are in front of me. It's, highly unusual situation for us to vote against, a recommendation to a committee or to a commission. And to me, it's sort of like unfair to them for me to vote against them because I'm not happy with some previous decisions that were made, or I don't like the particular mix of the commission. I just don't think that that's fair to these people that have put themselves out there, that are willing to serve. And there's nothing that I can see from their resumes or their background that tells me that they shouldn't be allowed to serve on this committee. So I'm going to vote in favor of this and for also for the other appointment if it does come up. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Gentile. Councilor Danberg?
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. I just want to reiterate that Nancy Grissom, who was a very talented member of this commission, is coming back to the commission, and the mayor is planning on appointing her so that she can have another term. There are many unfilled openings in not only commissions and committees in the city of Newton, but all of our surrounding communities. I was in Edgartown this weekend, and across the dinner table, we were talking about how difficult it is to fill volunteer spots on commissions and committees. It just seems like everywhere people have their busy lives, and it's not that it's not that they don't know about these committees and commissions that are in need of people. It's just that at these times in their lives, they feel that they don't have the time to dedicate to it. It is very hard to find people to serve. The difficulty of having a quorum in many of our commissions is there. I've been to many meetings of the Historic Commission and have spoken at times with Mr. Cornelius beforehand about an item and he was concerned that he would not have a quorum. Voting against someone who is a good candidate, who is willing to serve, willing to step up to the plate, is also a deterrent to other people who, the word gets around that this body is refusing to vote yes on candidates who are willing to step up to the plate. So I will be supporting this, and I hope that my colleagues will do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Danberg. Counselor Getz?
Yeah, I was simply pointing out, Counselor Gentiles. I'm going to speak on the second item, but not this item.
Oh, okay. Counselor Greenberg?
Thank you. In regards to having experts on our commissions, I dare say that most of us, when we were elected city councilors, were not experts at being city councilors. It took time, effort, and a lot of work to become a city councilor. And these two applicants are willing to serve and are interested. It may take them time to become experts, and I'm sure that they'll be able to do the job. So I will be supporting both of these applicants. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Greenberg. Any other comments here? All right, so let's, I think, do another roll call on this one. The appointment of Scott Freeman to the Newton Historical Commission.
Counselor Albright,
Aye.
Counselor Baker,
Aye.
Counselor Bixby,
Aye.
Counselor Block,
No.
Counselor Danberg,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Farrell,
No.
Counselor Gentile,
Aye.
Counselor Getz,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg,
Aye.
Counselor Grossman,
Aye.
Counselor Humphrey, Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Krinsman, Counselor Leary,
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff, Counselor Lovovitz,
No.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Maliki,
No.
Counselor Mickley,
Aye.
Counselor Oliver,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
President Laredo,
Aye.
Counselor Palis,
Aye.
the motion passes 17 yeas, 4 nays, 3 absent.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 212-25, appointment of Travis Salters to the Newton Historical Commission. Counselor Baker.
So, Mr. Acting President, this item, as I think I indicated earlier, was mischaracterized in the docket item as a full appointment and essentially for to be an associate member of the Historical Commission. So, but the item is 212-25, appointment of Travis Salters to the Newton Historical Commission for a term of office set to expire September 2nd, 2028. And the committee discussion, again, was in favor of this candidate, 6 in favor, 1 abstention, and 1 absent. And I will move the report and reserve comment till the later in the discussion. I believe this one I got right. I think Counselor Wright put this one on second call.
Correct. Thank you, Counselor Baker. Counselor Wright.
I put docket item 212-25, appointment of Travis Salters to the Newton Historic Commission on second call. We just voted it out immediately before this meeting with a 4-3 vote. And I would like to speak to Mr. Salters, but he was not at our meeting tonight. Mr. Salters is a lawyer with experience in merger and acquisition transaction. He's smart, personable, and has an impressive resume. He brings a history of serving underserved populations in Atlanta, including exposing high school students to college and career opportunities, turning around poor performing schools and neighborhoods, coaching 33 teachers in Teach for America, and more. He has a track record of giving back to the community. In my opinion, Mr. Salters, with his experience and professional background, is much better suited for any of the following committees: Newton Fair and Affordable Housing Partnership, Newton Affordable Housing Trust, Board of License Commission, Community Education Commission, Human Rights Commission, Newton Housing Authority, Youth Commission Advisory Board, and others. He would be an asset to any of those communities. Mr. Travis does not have experience in preservation. He did not request the Newton Historic Commission, but the mayor recommended him to the commission. He did request the Auburndale Historic Commission, which is different than the Newton Historic Commission overseeing the whole city. I believe Mr. Salter's talents would better serve our community if he were to serve on another committee. I would ask to postpone this item to a date certain in September 15th. Thank you.
Okay, so on the motion on the floor to postpone to a date certain, Counselor Baker.
I think that's too late for the council's decision. I think we have, if I can, on the merits, 60 days in which to act. And I believe September 15th, let me check with the clerk, is beyond that 60-day period. That's correct? We would have to, if you wish to postpone, it would have to be the September 2nd meeting in order to act on it within the 60 days. Otherwise, the appointment takes effect automatically. And I should correct myself. The vote was 4-3. I don't know why I gave the vote earlier, but my apologies to my colleagues. I should know better, but this is not in a written report. Anyway, so at least I can correct that.
Counselor Wright.
September 2nd would be fine with me.
Okay, any discussion on the proposal to postpone to September 2nd?
Just on the merits, I think the one argument in favor is at least the Ward 4 member of the committee will be here. On the other side, I should point out that Mr. Heath, who was at the meeting, represented that this candidate had indicated that he had applied for the Historic District Commission slot, but decided he'd rather not serve in a situation where he was involved with his own neighborhood and preferred to be at large, which is the historical position role, as I just wanted to add that additional piece of information. I'm prepared to vote for it tonight, but I'm aware that there are people who would like to have opportunity and to hear it. And so I will not oppose the motion to postpone, but it will be for the 2nd. Is that correct?
Thank you, Councilor. Yes, sir, that's correct. Counselor Baker, thank you. Counselor Downs.
I would rather vote it out tonight. I think there will be very likely a number of us who will not be able to make it on the 2nd. I would rather have an almost full contingent like we have tonight rather than putting it off again.
Thank you, Counselor Downs. Any other discussion? Okay, and seeing none, let's call the roll on postponing to September 2nd. A yes vote would postpone it to September 2nd.
Counselor Albright,
No.
Counselor Baker,
Aye.
what was that?
Aye.
Counselor Bixby,
No.
Counselor Block,
Aye.
Counselor Danberg,
No.
Counselor Downs,
No,
Counselor Farrell, Counselor Gentile,
Aye.
Counselor Getz,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg,
No.
Counselor Grossman,
No.
Counselor Humphrey,
Aye.
Counselor Kelly,
No.
Counselor Krinsman, Counselor Leary,
No.
Counselor Lipoff,
No.
Counselor Lobovitz,
No.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Maliki,
Aye.
Counselor Mickley,
Aye.
Counselor Oliver,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
President Laredo,
Aye.
Counselor Kalis,
Aye.
motion's approved, 13 yays, 10 nays, and 1 absent.
Okay, so that will be on September 2nd. The last item we have is a land use item, 177-25. Counselor Kelly, I'll let you introduce it, and then this was put on second call by Counselor Block.
Thank you. This has been before the Land Use Committee a couple of times. I wasn't prepared to speak to it tonight. I just got the text while I was here tonight. This was a proposal to raise a single-family house at Eddy Street at Watertown in Ward 2, West Newton, or Ward 3, Newtonville, the other way around. Yeah, Ward 3, Newtonville, which passed with lots of discussion about whether 3 smaller units on this site would be preferable to 2 or 1 or 2 mega houses or a by right project. And it did pass. And now I guess we'll hear more about second call.
Thank you, Counselor Kelly. Counselor Block?
Thank you. The vote, I believe, was 4 in favor, 2 opposed, 1 abstention, and 1 absent. This got a fair amount of discussion. There was some very interesting testimony from neighbors regarding this intersection, the hazardous nature and frequency of crashes at the intersection of Watertown and Eddy Street. Based on that information that was presented to us, I asked both the planning department and the Department of Public Works for crash data on this site. Because of vacations, that was not possible to prepare. I think the whole council should examine the crash history at this site to help make the determination whether the proposal would have an adverse impact on the neighborhood. And since this data is not available, I'm going to move that we postpone this item to a date certain, September 15th, to give the city enough time to collect the crash data and report it to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor Block. Okay, so there's a motion to postpone this item to September 15th. Any discussion on that motion? Counselor Leary?
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. I hesitated on this project too, but for different reasons. And I don't think replacing this nice colonial, 1912 colonial with 3 units will make a difference on the traffic in that intersection. It's already a 4-way stop. Seems to me people are just not paying attention to their driving and going through somebody's fence. Now that's happened several times. I know this has been brought up. So I don't really think the traffic data is really significant to this particular project. So that's why I would not want to postpone it, but I'll let my colleagues also make that decision.
Thank you, Counselor Leary. Counselor Gentile?
Thank you. I'll vote to support postponing it to the date certain. But at some point, so if that is successful, I'm hoping that it can be made clear, because it's not clear to me now, what the by right option is, because that's pretty important to me, especially at this location. It sounds like, my understanding is that it's a single family now. And I believe it's zoned for single family, and that somehow there's a benefit of 2 additional units. And if I have that incorrect, then it would be helpful, that I be corrected. So whether it's tonight or whether it's when we take it up the next time, if that could be clarified, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Counselor Kelly is going to clarify, I think.
Yes, Counselor Gentile. By right is for a 2-family plus an accessory apartment, and it is in an MR1 zone.
Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Lobovitz.
Thank you. I think with due respect to Counselor Locke, I think we should give some time to allow for further investigation into this issue and further thought. I just think we're talking about public safety, and that is a consideration in the determination of the Land Use Committee. I just do want to comment on the by right option. That is not a consideration. That is not before the committee, and it shouldn't be a consideration. I know it's always in the back of people's minds, what's the alternative? But that's not the decision that the committee makes. It is, if we reject this petition, the developer does have a by right option or other options for, and that I would encourage people not to consider that in their deliberations, because it is not consideration for the Land Use Committee. We only consider what's before us, the application that's before us, and not what potentially developer might do in the future. But my main thought is to support Counselor Locke's attempt to elucidate the safety issues further, and we're only talking about a few weeks difference, and I think we should give him that consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Lobovitz. Counselor Lucas.
Thank you. So I'm going to vote yes to postpone. And just for the record, I voted yes in committee to recommend this project, and I'm prepared to vote yes on September 15th if this motion passes. Thank you. This is the 3rd item we've postponed tonight. That's got to be a record since I've been on the council. I know it's summer, but it is what it is, I guess. And if I could just give some advice to my colleague from Ward 4, Councilor Block, when you get a traffic study for this intersection, Eddy, Elliott, and Watertown, it's a very dangerous intersection. Previously, it was a dangerous intersection. I would like to assume it's better now. But when you get your traffic study, make sure you identify the time period when that 4-way stop went in. And so we can just compare apples to apples, before the 4-way stop, after the 4-way stop. And just to add on to what Counselor Gentile and Counselor Kelly said, it's in an MR zone.